But below, the effort has caused an overload in Dr. Scuba's equipment. The island explodes in a gigantic fireball. And his very success brings destruction to the evil Scuba. Is this the end? Unfortunately it is, because this was the very last issue of OMAC. Come on, DC, bring OMAC back. Get it? I had to play on words there. I should be careful with this issue because not many of those are left, so it's a very rare one too. Hey guys, how's it going? Shaun Allen here. Welcome to this episode of Disneyland at Home. Yes, as you can see, I am not at Disneyland right now. I am actually here at my place. This is my lovely display here. And for today's video, I thought I'd talk about comic books. Wow, that seems to be coming up in a lot of my videos recently. But yes, as you all know, I am a collector of comics. I collect all sorts of comics from the different brands, you know, Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, IDM, and of course Disney. Yes, I have a little of everything, as you can probably guess. I would say maybe a good fourth of my comic book issues that I have on my shelf are strictly Batman. In fact, recently I've been reading the issues from IDM/DC where they teamed up Batman with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to fight off against Shredder. That has been a very wild ride, but it's a good series. I have all of them except for one, which is the last issue, which is coming out, I believe, next month. I'm really looking forward to that one, to seeing the final conclusion, and we'll see what happens. But I definitely know that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Batman will definitely defeat Shredder. But anyways, and of course, if you guys are into the Star Wars universe and the comic book genre, you guys probably know that they actually gave the story as to how C-3PO lost his gold arm and had the red arm in The Force Awakens. In fact, this is my issue right here. Very interesting comic, but really bogged down with dialogue. Like, a lot of dialogue. I'd say maybe a good 80% of this comic book is just strictly dialogue. The art's actually pretty good, but just so much talking. I mean, yeah, it is okay, you know, but C-3PO, whew, he has a lot to say. And it's just one issue. I wish they would actually make it into a series. It's basically just one issue. It's like a direct edition. So unfortunately, I don't think we'll be seeing any more issues of C-3PO, but at least C-3PO here got a comic book issue, which is awesome, because this is my original C-3PO figure that I got back in '97, I think. I think that's what it was. Anyways, today's episode, I'm going to be talking about a different comic book series, more relating to the Disney Kingdoms area of the comic book, you know, business. As you all know, I am a very big fan of the Disney Kingdoms comic book series. I have recently collected all of the actual issues for Seekers of the Weird and Figment. And of course, my personal favorite, Big Thunder Mountain. As some of you know, I actually thought I lost issue 1, so I bought a second copy of issue 1. You know, now I have 2 issues here, as you can see, but hey, it's a good series. I like it a lot. And continuing where we left off in Figment 1, we have Figment 2, which recently finished. So, it was a good series too. I really liked this one a lot. It was actually a lot better than the first one. And now comes the series that I am so happy that they decided to make into a comic book series, The Haunted Mansion. As some of you are aware, a few months ago I made a special video for the Off the Page store over at Disney California Adventure, where I showed where you can get certain comic books from Star Wars and the Disney Kingdoms collection. And in that same video, I talked about different comic book ideas that Disney Kingdom should come up with, one of them being The Haunted Mansion. I think the other ones were Expedition Everest and the Tower of Terror, which I think should also be made into a comic book series, just saying. But one of the ideas that I suggested was The Haunted Mansion. I didn't know it at the time, but Disney Kingdoms was actually working on a comic book series for The Haunted Mansion. And ladies and gentlemen, here we have the first issue of The Haunted Mansion. I have to say that I am a huge fan of not just the attraction, but of the comic book series. And when I saw this being sold at my local comic book store, I was like, I'm getting that comic. Actually, this is weird because I was expecting them to be selling this at Disney parks, but in my recent trip to Disneyland, they weren't selling this at all. Nowhere in the parks, Disney California Adventure or Disneyland. That may have changed now, but I went to the little store area by Pirates of the Caribbean where they have some of the Haunted Mansion stuff next door to the Pieces of 8 store. Nothing. No comic books there. I went to a little wagon area where they have some of the Haunted Mansion stuff next door to the Harbor Galley. Wasn't there either. I checked the Emporium. I checked all the other areas of the theme park that actually sold comics, even off the page. They weren't selling it, and I was really surprised that they weren't, because it's the Haunted Mansion, for crying out loud. So, you know, I was a little disappointed, but I was able to find an issue, and I was so glad. It was actually their last issue, which was really, like, not just surprising, but just, I was just so thrilled to actually finally get my hands on the first issue of the Haunted Mansion series, because this was something I've been waiting for a while now, ever since they first announced it. And so, just very quickly, I'm just going to give you a little bit of a like, kind of like a spoilers style review of what happens in issue 1. Now, like I said, this is a spoilers video, so if you have not read the first issue, you might want to stop watching this now, because I'm probably going to give you away a few plot points in this book, or comic book. So, here's what actually happens. Maybe instead of telling you the names of the different characters, I'll just tell you just like the basic plot. So this young kid and his grandfather are having this really special bonding moment, and they are very, you know, happy that they're together. They like doing stuff together. So the grandfather's like, well, how about we go hiking one day, and, you know, let's do that sometime. And the kid's like, well, I gotta do something else. So he goes, okay, well, I'm gonna go hike off somewhere else. You do whatever it is you're gonna be doing here at home. So see ya. Well, you're not gonna believe where he actually went to hike in the mountains. What mountain specifically he went to go climb. He went to climb the Matterhorn, guys. The Matterhorn actually makes a cameo in the Haunted Mansion, which was so awesome. Literally, like, as I'm reading this, my hand is shaking like, ah! It was, I just couldn't believe it. The Matterhorn is in the comic book series. It actually makes a cameo. No, unfortunately, no Abominable Snowman. He doesn't make an appearance, but maybe in a future comic book series. But, yes, the Haunted Mansion and the Matterhorn, two completely different attractions in the same comic. That's pretty cool. But as you can probably guess, it doesn't end well for the grandfather. He gets killed in an avalanche. He wasn't killed on a bobsled. Sorry. I mentioned there were going to be spoilers. That was a big one. Now, I'm pretty sure you know the layout of the Haunted Mansion. As you're walking around, like the outside, there are a bunch of graveyards, right? You have the pet cemetery, you have the special cemetery on the side of the mountain, or it's not the mountain, I mean the mansion, and you also have the wall that has all the different names of like these different people that have really ridiculous names. And of course, when you're in the actual attraction, you get to go through the graveyard with all the ghosts, right? And guess where the grandfather is buried? In a graveyard right next door to the Haunted Mansion. Appropriate, I'd say. I mean, you can literally tell that this graveyard is next door to the Haunted Mansion, because in one panel, you'll actually see him leaving what looks like a regular cemetery, but a little further down the road, the next panel is the Haunted Mansion. And it's still the exact same fencing. I mean, it makes sense because it's the Haunted Mansion. You have graveyards, right? So this kid, of course, is sad because his grandfather is gone and he won't be able to, you know, have any more fun with him. I felt the same way when my grandfather passed away, and, you know, I just felt like I lost something. And this kid is just, you know, moping a lot until finally one day he is in his bathroom, of all places, and Madame Leota shows up in his mirror. In his bathroom! I mean, how would you like it if Madame Leota suddenly appeared in your mirror when you're deciding to go to the bathroom or coming out of the shower? Like, excuse me, Madame Leota, privacy, please? So she sends him this little message of, come to the mansion, come to the mansion, there is danger afoot, or whatever, and it's like, okay, and he gets all suited up in this little gizmo-type gear thing, almost like a Disney version of Ghostbusters, and he decides to go to the mansion, and there's this one panel that shows, like, this humongous picture of the mansion with the horse-drawn carriage, and it is absolutely fantastic. The way they draw on this is just phenomenal. So he walks into the mansion, and like the attraction, he walks into the hallway where you get into the room where the stretching portraits are, and yes, the portraits do stretch. And I don't remember if you see the guy hanging from the ceiling. That's something I'll have to reread. But the portraits actually do stretch. And he does walk through the hallway where he sees those pictures on the wall that turn into the different shapes and figures. And guess what? Those figures come to life and starts chasing him throughout the mansion. And he happens to come across Madame Leota in her seance room, and she basically says, "Hey, you leave this kid alone. Get out of here." It's unbelievable. So one last item that I want to mention is that I was so thrilled that they put this in the comic. She actually decides, okay, I'm going to help you out, kid, but in order for me to help you out... Oh, wait, actually, I forgot to mention. So, apparently, there's this evil ghost inside the Haunted Mansion that's keeping these ghosts, the 999 happy haunts, like, entrapped or entombed inside the Haunted Mansion. And his grandfather is one of the 999 happy haunts. Unfortunately, I don't think it's happy haunts. I think it's terrorized happy haunts. So... in a way, it's really turning out to be a different storyline for the Haunted Mansion, in this case for the comic book, than it is for the attraction. Instead of happy haunts, it's scared happy haunts, or scared haunts. And the last thing I wanted to mention was that the one thing that I hope they would add into the comic book series, and they did in this first issue, they really put a lot into this one, I have to say. The last thing I wanted them to do was to put in the seance quote that she says in the attraction, you know, "Serpents and spiders, tail of a rat, call in the spirits wherever they're at." Whoa. You guys hear? Yes, that is actually in the comic. They did actually miss one line, though, or a whole segment, which was, I think it was the last one. So all in all, the happy haunts materialized, and of course, that is the end of issue 1. So she awakens the spirits with their tambourines, and of course, the issue finishes with the evil spirit seeing that she has helped basically awaken the spirits, and she's going to help him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to kill this kid." Kind of turned into a dark ending there for a second, but yes, that is the end of issue 1, and let me just say, my hands, again, were shaking as I was reading this. This was an awesome first issue for the Haunted Mansion, and it was just so cool to find this, and the way that they're doing this is so phenomenal. The writing is absolutely fantastic. The art, unbelievably good. It is really, really good. Some of the artists, I believe, are from the other Disney Kingdoms comics as well, so props to you guys. You guys really did an awesome job. Now, what was really cool about this particular issue of the Haunted Mansion was that they came out with variant covers, which means that there were different covers for this one particular comic book. In other words, different artists wanted to come up with a comic book cover for issue 1, but I guess they had one too many. I think there was like either 4 or 5, but I only know of 4, but anyways, one of them being this one, which is the one that was the main issue for the Haunted Mansion. But there was one other one where it was a kind of a cartoony type cover where it had the 3 hitchhiking ghosts. I saw that one, and I was like, I wasn't really particularly that interested in that one. I saw an image where you had the ghost playing the organ that's there in the Haunted Mansion, like, you know, the Finding Nemo, not the Finding Nemo, I mean the Captain Nemo organ. Yeah, that one was okay, but believe it or not, I have not one, but 2 copies of the first issue of the Haunted Mansion. Yes, I actually bought a second issue, or a second copy of the first issue, but this one with one of the different variant covers. And this is the one I got. Check that one out. This is the one that I chose as the other variant cover that I wanted to get. Why did I choose this one? You can probably guess if you guys are big Disney nerds, but I'll give you a good hint. Look at the background here. Does that look familiar? If you're thinking of the original poster for the Haunted Mansion, you're absolutely right. Instead of the ghost bride here, which is supposed to look like a figure, this is actually supposed to look like a toy case, basically. But if you were to remove this and replace it with the drawn hitchhiking ghosts, that's the Haunted Mansion poster. Isn't that cool? I thought that was a brilliant idea to sort of take the original poster for the Haunted Mansion and kind of, you know, twist it in a way such that it looked like a different cover for the Haunted Mansion comic book. This is a very cool one. I really like this one a lot. Now comes the big decision of which one is better. I can't decide which one is better, but they are both very cool covers for the Haunted Mansion. Let me know in the comments down below if you've actually checked out the Haunted Mansion comic book series, and if you are really interested in checking out issue 2. If you're not really interested, well, don't worry. I'll be making another video about issue 2 when that one becomes available, and probably a lot sooner because these have already been out for a while. So this video is a little late, so sorry about that. But I had to make a video once I got this issue, and yeah. Alright everybody, well that is it for today's episode of the Disneyland at Home series. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked the video, please be sure to hit that thumbs up button, favorite the video, share your friends, and of course subscribe to this channel, the Disneyland Video series. I make new videos every day, or not every day, but on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I gotta make sure I mention that because a lot of people are wondering when a new video will be up. I'm trying to keep it to a minimum of 3 videos per week. If for some reason I can't post a video on a certain day, I will either tweet about it or leave a status update on my Facebook page. So be sure to follow my Twitter and Facebook feeds down below in the description of this video. The links are down below, I should say. And that's pretty much it. Alright, you guys, thank you so much for watching. See you guys next time here on the Disneyland Video series. And now I will raise the safety bar, and a ghost will follow you all over the internet.